Hello everyone and welcome to Doug's Aviation. In today's video I'm going to be comparing two aircraft, the Cessna 182 and the Cirrus SR22. I will look at them from the perspective of a private pilot in the United Kingdom who makes trips mainly nationally with the occasional trip to mainland Europe. First, I'll start with a bit of history about both aircraft. The Cessna 182 was introduced in 1956, shortly after the 180, which was launched in 1953. The key differences between these aircraft are the introduction of a tricycle landing gear system on the Cessna 182, which was much better suited for the average GA pilot. This is the case because they make the aircraft easier to handle on the ground by providing increased stability when taxiing and on takeoff and landing. They are also better because they ensure good forward visibility when taxiing because they keep the plane in a neutral position, all of which are important for a new private pilot. In 1957, the 182A was introduced along with the name Skylane. As production continued, later models were improved regularly and features such as wider fuselage, swept tail fin, a rear omnivision window, enlarged baggage compartment, higher gross weights and landing gear changes, as well as many other modifications. The Cessna 182 has gone through many variants, with the current being the 182 Skylane, which is available for purchase right now. The Cirrus SR22 has a much shorter history but still an interesting one. The Cirrus SR22 is a single-engine, 4 or 5-seat composite aircraft built from 2001 by Cirrus Aircraft. It is a development of the Cirrus SR22 with a larger wing, higher fuel capacity and more powerful 310 horsepower engine. The SR22 series has been the world's best-selling general aviation aircraft since 2003. With 6,149 units delivered from 2001 to 2019. And in combination with the SR20, a total of 7,645, it is the most produced GA aircraft of the 21st century and is the single most produced GA aircraft made from composite material, accounting for over 30% of the entire piston aircraft market. Safety. In terms of safety, the SR22 has the edge, with the chance of a fatal accident being 0.42 per 100,000 flight hours, compared to the Cessna 182's 0.82 per 100,000 hours. While being a factually correct statistic, it is somewhat misleading. This is because while the SR22 has a lower fatal accident statistic, this is solely down to the introduction of its ballistic parachute, which has meant that while fatal accident statistics are lower, the chance of destroying the aircraft are higher because of the poor stall and spin characteristics. For example, a spin in a Cessna 182 will most likely result in 1,000 feet or so of altitude loss and a relatively easy recovery with no injuries to the pilot or the aircraft, while the same spin in an SR22 could more likely result in the pilot losing control over the aircraft and being forced to deploy the parachute. While both outcomes are positive in terms of the pilot and passenger surviving, one results in the entire aircraft having to be written off, and one results in no damage whatsoever to the airframe. Range. The Cessna 182 has a maximum theoretical range of 915 nautical miles. This is assuming that the whole 65 gallons in the tank could be used, which of course would not be possible in real life. This also ignores the fact that a reserve would need to be accounted for. The SR22 has a range of 1040 nautical miles. This is again theoretical, but is nevertheless more than the 182. Now the next category, performance. The SR22 has the edge over the 182 in terms of performance, with a maximum cruise speed of 180 knots, while the 182 is only able to manage 139 knots. This increase in performance makes a noticeable real-world difference, with a flight from Elstree in London to Bern in Switzerland taking around 2 hours and 55 minutes in the 182, while the same flight in the Cirrus would take 2 hours and 15 minutes. The SR22 also has a greater climb rate at 1,304 feet per minute, with the 182 only managing 1,030. It is worth bearing in mind that these statistics are best case and are likely not going to be replicable in most real-world situations. The ceiling of a 182 is between 18,000 and 20,000 feet, depending on the aircraft type within the Skylane range, whereas the SR22 can manage 25,000 feet. Although these statistics are virtually meaningless when you factor in the requirement for oxygen above 10,000 feet, as neither aircraft is pressurized. Finally, the SR22 can be fitted with an option to allow it to be flown in known icing, FICI, from the factory, whereas on the 182 it will need to be fitted after the purchase from Cessna. And now the penultimate category, price. The price of purchasing these aircraft brand new is $779,900,000 for the SR22 and $515,000 for the Cessna 182. A pilot's perspective. After speaking to the British-based YouTuber Plain Old Ben to inquire on which aircraft he preferred, given his experience with both planes, he said, "Depends on your mission and what you are wanting to achieve. The 182 has much better short-field performance, but the SR22 is a lot better for touring and has a parachute, along with being able to fly airways no problem. So having flown both types quite a lot, I would take the Cirrus." That now concludes this video. Thank you for staying until the end, and please subscribe and like so you don't miss any future uploads.